Hello, welcome to another interesting podcast. It's been fun. I have talked about a lot of serious things lately, and I've been in deep thought and prayer about things to talk about going forward. It is sometimes difficult to know what to talk about, and I've had to come up with some ideas and run them through, and I just don't know. And all I can say is our world is in a lot of hurt. And people are angry, people aren't thinking rationally. A lot of the things that I said would happen are happening a long time ago. And it can be frustrating when people don't understand you. They don't listen to you. But I'm not necessarily talking about all of that. I want to talk about motivation. Because right now, it is really, really hard to be motivated. It's hard to be motivated in society to stand for the right thing when there's so many people that have a backwards perception. It's hard to stand your ground and not cater to people who are just angry, because the loudest voices are always the ones that people tend to bow to. People that use force tend to control society. Threats, the social norms. So people. And there's a difference. There's different stages of a civilization life cycle where the culture bases their values around fear versus what the culture bases it, or if the culture bases it around virtue. Early on in their life cycle, like 2, 3, 4, 5, they typically base it off of virtue. But in 6, 7, 1, it's more based off of fear. And in fear, there's people who use their force. People who use force are the ones who control society. People who use threats control society. So, like civil rights movements, way back in the day, a civil rights movement made headway by being virtuous. I think of the civil rights era protests in the 60s. They got listened to because people could see up front and center how virtuous they were, where the wrong was. And over time, that won people over. Where the difference nowadays, civil rights movements, people get listened to when they bully, when they threaten people, when they sue people. That's how you get your voice. It used to be you got a voice by being virtuous. And that is an effect of where we are as a civilization. But motivation can be tough. And I wanted to leave you with some thoughts on motivation. Some interesting thoughts that can help you know how to keep going. First thing I want to say is society is going to throw challenges at you. It's going to be tough. And if you let what happens to you control your mindset and you become reactive, you're going to fall apart more easily. One of the most important things I saw was when you wake up in the morning, don't pull out your phone and start looking at it, because that makes you reactive. Go right into a task. Do the task first. By doing the task first, you suddenly start to orient yourself towards getting things done. If you make yourself reactive, the first thing you do is look at your phone and react to what's going on, well, then you become a reactive person, and you don't get things done. You let things from the outside control your day. It sets the tone for the entire day. That's the reason why a lot of people who are very productive, they get up and they work out first thing in the morning, they get up and they start working first thing in the morning. First thing they do is get to work. That's number one. Don't let things affect your day. See the picture, and you have to see a picture of your mind of where you want to go. And that's another thing motivational speakers will tell you. Picture in your mind where you're going, or picture in your mind who you want to be. And you can take that image going to sleep with you, I've heard that, or you can wake up with it and have that in your mind and plan your whole day around fulfilling that image. What do you want to get done today? And start mapping it out step by step. Be proactive. Be intentional with your time, all right? Time is something that's going to come by. It's going to fly by no matter what. That's the whole idea behind Carpe Diem, seize the day. The day is going to go by no matter what you do with it. You're either going to seize it or you're going to let it go by. So you're either going to let everything control you, or you're going to seize it and you're going to do something with it. One or the other. Which one is it going to be, right? You have to spend the time. What are you going to do with it? If somebody suddenly gave you a $20 bill every 10 minutes, and if you spent it, great. If you didn't spend it, you had to drop it. What would you be doing with it? You'd probably be spending it every 10 minutes. You'd find a place to spend that 20 so that your 20s would start being useful. Time's the same way. You're being gifted every second, every minute. You're being gifted something to do. You have a chance to do something. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to spend that time wisely, or are you going to waste it? When somebody puts that 20 in your hand, are you going to drop it, or are you going to keep going? What are you going to do with yourself? What are you going to do with that 20? I think a lot of times we take a look at the big picture and we get psyched out. And we don't realize that our goals are made not all at once or not at their conclusion, but an inch at a time on the way there. I'll give you a story. When I was in high school, my team was fighting for a chance to get to state. We were in a game that could be considered a playoff game my senior year. And as I was playing that game, we were toward the end, last 10 minutes, and I get a ball sent right in front of me. As I'm going towards the goal, somebody crosses it to me. It's right on target. I'm right there. And I was behind the ball by maybe an inch. One more inch, and I would have had that shot on target, and I'd have scored. And that could have sent us to state or into the playoffs. I didn't get there. I missed by that inch. So I asked myself, I tore myself up after the game because I'm a very hypercritical person, self-critical person. And I have a perfectionism in me, which I'm working on. I'm really working on that. I asked myself, what was it that I did? How did I fail to get that ball? How could I have made that happen? And no matter how much I pulled it out of my mind, because I told myself I could have started the run sooner, I could have pulled off the man I was marking sooner, could have angled different. But all those were decisions I made at the time based off the circumstances. Really, where the decision was made that I was controllable, where I did not get that ball, was in the month prior. It was in every workout, in every practice, where I did not push myself just a little bit harder in wind sprints or in conditioning training or in any of those things. One more wind sprint a day. I pushed myself a little bit harder during conditioning every day. Over that last month, that's what made the difference. Each day that I would have pushed myself a little bit harder, I would have gained a piece at a time of getting closer to fulfilling that inch. And if I'd have been winded enough, if I'd have had the strength in my legs to get there and make that 1 inch happen, I could have done it if I'd have just put the time in beforehand. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about. Because life doesn't just reward us for our efforts. I'm sorry to say that it doesn't. It's not every day or every moment you're going to get a game-winning ball passed to you. It's not going to happen. But when you do, how much have you prepared? And can you be certain that you will be able to cover that last inch? That's the important thing. We win against our goals, and we achieve those goals 1 inch at a time. Piece by piece, the more we work. This is what I tell my sales team too, because I am a sales coach too. And what I tell my sales team is, look, you're going to go out there one day, and on a regular day, you'll talk to a bunch of people. And maybe you'll get some interested, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll make an appointment, maybe you won't. Whatever happens, do it to the best of your ability and challenge yourself to go beyond what you did the day before. Why do I say that? Because some of them could just be expecting sales to walk in, which sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But here's what it means. If you challenge yourself to go further than what you did the day before, every single day, if you debrief and figure out, and you ask yourself, if the same day happened again today that happened yesterday, that was not a good day, how would I ensure that I got the sale today? How would I ensure I did things differently? And where that happens is you debrief and you figure out what you can do better, and you reinvent and you reposition and you practice and you get better. Inch by inch, you see improvements in the people that are trying and the people that don't, because you can tell the people that are really putting in and the people that are not. The people that are putting in, they get better, piece at a time, inch at a time, inch at a time. It's just never overnight. They start getting better a piece at a time until finally you see the results. I always tell them, look, do it for the person, do it for who you're going to be a month from now. Do it for future you, 1 month from now. That's the person that's going to thank you for every inch that you put in at this point, this month. Because they're the ones that are going to benefit from it. If I had put the effort in at my high school practices and not been so focused on let me get home and let me get out of here and I'm tired and I want to deal with it, if I'd have put that effort in, I'd have closed that inch on that ball. And I'd have had a shot at scoring that goal. Or I would have scored that goal. Either way. Give yourself that shot when the opportunity comes. Make yourself available. And it's the same thing in our society. Is one person going to change society for the better? Are you going to be able to upend it all and fix everything? No. None of us are. That the smartest of us and the most public of us can't just change things all at once for the better. But what we can do is one piece at a time, 1 inch at a time, begin to make things better. Always, always shoot for the goal. You don't have to be a pendulum swinger where, hey, I see society going this way, so I'm going to swack out against it and go radically in the other direction. That just makes things worse. That's another conversation. But if we all inch towards the goal a piece at a time and not give up and encourage others to do that too, yes, as one person it's overwhelming and it's very hard to do it. But as a group, we can do it. 1 inch at a time, one person at a time. No drop of rain is responsible for the flood. You've heard that before. Everybody's heard that. But the flood comes anyway. One single drop of water is nothing in the ocean. But millions of drops of water in the form of a tidal wave are extremely powerful. And it goes for your efforts as well. You speak once, nothing happens. Speak twice, nothing seems to happen. Keep speaking, and keep speaking righteousness. And eventually it starts to have an impact. And eventually you'll see it. And I challenge you to go even if you don't see it. Because the world is made up of people doing the right thing. That's how the world goes around. All it takes for evil to prevail is for righteous people to do nothing. And you've heard that one before too. It's amazing how we have all these cliche colloquialisms that we just throw out there and nobody really knows what they mean, but you put them in context to our current society, our current situation, it starts to make sense. You know exactly why they said that. And there's this other one, which is one of my favorites that I made up myself. A bundle of broken parts cannot create a proper whole. So basically, don't allow yourself to be part of the problem. Just don't, if you give up because you think it's not going to work, then you're just part of the brokenness. And you're not creating a proper whole. Change, social change, real societal change begins with us. We cannot be broken and somehow fix it. Now, obviously, none of us are perfect. But the whole point is that if we challenge, if we struggle with ourselves what we're trying to fix, we can't fix it. We have to make ourselves part of the solution first and then go out from there. Be a part of the solution. Be a part of that positive change. Inch by inch, change yourself and help change others. Inch by inch. Start with yourself and then change others and go out from there. The future you and the future us is going to thank you.